It was more revival. That's what we call now revival. Um, but it was a new thing back then. You know what I mean? So it come out like Natty Bongo and Sadrin and Sinners and Tenderly. You had culture out there, you know what I mean? But it was more, Nago no funeral. Yeah, Prince Allah,
Yeah, yeah.
you know them ones. So the music, we started from then really, and it's changed slightly. You know what I mean? A lot really.
And how would you listen to music at home?
Back then, still same. So when we went out, 'cause we had like for our age group, because we were young, we had like Teapot Chapel or Berkeley Civic, or we had Starlight, King of Clubs. So we had a load of stuff back in the day for us. You know what I mean? So from that, it's more of it enlightened us, yeah, to find out a direction, what we wanted to do with our life, and it was music. Not only listening at home, it's taking it out on the street, right, and showing the people who we are, and where we're from, and what we're about.
So when you were listening to music at home, how would you listen to it?
Radiogram, radiogram, yeah. And at the end of the
Do
day,
you
boy,
remember what type of radiogram?
boy, they were garage turntables. I remember because I used to take it out of my mom's, build a box so it were a single turntable. You know what I mean? And a lot of arguments in the house. What you doing with me? Well, sorry, mama again. You know what I mean? So we started with that, put it in a box, and then plug
So-
it into an amp.
So was the turntable a garage turntable?
Yeah, garage turntable. But for the make of the radiogram, I couldn't really tell you. I just like the turntable. The turntable had to come out. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah.
So Dee Bo, what sort of music would you listen to
I listen
as
to
a youth man?
I listen to everything. As a youth man, I'm listening to my parents' music, which was rhythm and blues, rock and roll, ska, reggae. Listen to the whole 9 yards. And when I was going to school, we had his own. They were called glam rock groups, Top of the Pops. Listened to all of that because we were born here, and so we listened to a lot of the glam rock stuff from Top of the Pops. Some of the artists them times were good because we're hearing it every day. I suppose that's the idea of programming, and if you hear it all the time, you tend to start liking it because there was a load of tunes back in the 70s in the pop charts that were quite groovy, and some of them had that rhythm behind them. They might have sounded a bit rocky, but hey, we grew up in rock and roll as well, so we could relate to it. But reggae music was always the beat of his heart.
And how would you listen to music at home?
Well, my dad always kind of played tunes on Sunday, and we used to have an old gram, blues pot gram it was. Strange thing is that going around my mates' houses, all black families had this particular type of gram. It was more like a sideboard. Ours wasn't like that. Ours was the blues pot, just a one drop belly of a thing. Had a radio that you punched buttons on it, but it was called a blues pot gram, and it was more like a cabinet rather than a sideboard. So we used to play music on that, stack tunes on the. Remember the old turntable? You could stack tunes on.
Yeah.
You
The
could
spingle,
stack 4 or
the
5 tunes on it,
spingle.
and just let them next tune. That was great. Just watching your pile of tunes go down that you
Yeah,
stacked
the arm
up.
just came back like that. The one that dropped down and it come back in again.
So that's the old gram.
But we did take that out, didn't we? The spingle back then, right? And we put the little one in, because
Eventually.
we want to be fast.
Eventually, but I'm saying with that particular gram, the needle one. It was a flick over needle that you flicked it over to play LPs, or you flicked it over to play 45s. And even the turntable had a 78 speed. So some of the records that we had back then, there was 33, 78, 45. Yeah. And the 78s played. The 78s were almost a 10-inch. It was almost a 10-inch, but they played at 78 speed. So we listened on his parents' gram when we could get in there, because that's not our property. You know what I mean? But when we had chance to go and play music, And we got the gram to yourself.
It was a different quality, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
It was a utterly
downbeat sound, wasn't it? It was just the sound of it,
yeah,
downbeat sound.
Yeah, all the different quality compared to today's.
And
type.
it's almost back in the old weddings when we went back there, just not sidestepping, but you know, when the sounds played in the old weddings, your gram was almost like that sound playing in a wedding.
Yeah.
You know, bit of a rough sound behind it, but you could hear the
Nostalgic
bass.
sound.
Yeah, yeah.